I'm going to talk to you about three important aspects of the sales cycle. Obviously, I cannot cover the entire course content in 5 to 7 minutes, but I'll try to give you the essence. These are the important things that one must understand about qualifying the deal, about managing stakeholders, or about value selling. So qualifying is basically, as we have heard before, I'm sure it's about finding out, why should the customer do anything, why now, and why should they select us. Now, in order to, qualify a large deal, we need to go a little bit beyond this. I speak of certain process that one should follow in order to qualify large deals. So first of all, we want to meet with different stakeholders and understand what are their challenges or what are their initiatives, what are their strategies, right? So whatever challenges the stakeholder tells you, list them down. So he may give you one or two or three, and we ask, okay, what else? What else? So at some point they may get stuck. They may not have anything more to say. So at that point of time, we ask them that okay, based on our industry experience, based on our interactions with other customers, they also speak about this challenge and this challenge. Is that also relevant? Say yes, of course. Yeah, this is also very relevant to me. Thanks for bringing it up. And then after that, they may come up with two more, because it reminds them of something. So after we have listed the issues, we then ask them to prioritize. We ask them, okay, which are the key ones, which are the important ones, that you would think that these must be solved first, or these are the biggest challenges that you have. We ask them to prioritize. After they prioritize, now we start digging deeper. We start pinching them on them. So we ask them for issue number, suppose there are three issues they have spoken about, which they have prioritized. We ask them that, okay, what's the evidence that this problem exists, right? If someone tells you that, oh, my inventory is high, right? So we ask them, okay, how high is the inventory? They say, oh, it's X percentage of my sales, or it is so many crores. So then we ask him, so then what's the correct value as per you? What is the right value, right? Or we ask him, how is this high inventory? How is it impacting your business? Or someone may say, I constantly have stockouts. So stockouts are a common phenomena in a lot of manufacturing companies which don't have an ERP with them. So then one can ask them that, okay, how is the stockout affecting your business? Often we are not able to execute orders. So we dig deeper. We ask them, okay, how often does this happen? What frequency? Let's say in a month, you're doing, let's say, 100 crores worth of, turnover. What percentage of your business do you think is getting impacted by this? So, yeah, easily 4-5%. So now we have a number. We're saying 5 crores worth of business is being lost in a month simply because of stockouts, right? So we have understood the problems. We have understood what is the evidence of the problem. We have understood how it is impacting their business. Now, if we start conglomerating all these challenges that they're having, we're going to get a picture about how big this problem is, right? And if the problem is small, believe me, you're not going to get a big deal out of it. Only if there's a really big challenge, then you're going to get a big deal out of it. Obviously, as you can imagine, the challenges at the level of maybe a senior manager, a general manager, will be small challenges. But at the VP level, the challenge is much bigger. If you go to the CEO level, you're talking massive problems. So we have to find out what those problems are. We have to find out, we have to dig deep, what is the business impact of those problems? Because then that homework that we have done in finding out what those problems are and what is the commercial, financial impact of those problems, that will not only help us in establishing credibility with the stakeholder, it will also help us in terms of tailoring our solution to meet those challenges, and it will also help us in the negotiation phase. Now, coming to the second part, which is stakeholder management. Now, who are stakeholders, right? This is a perennial question everyone asks me, that how do we identify who are the stakeholders? I have a very simple, way of knowing whether this person is a stakeholder in this deal or not. So, whoever is affected by the challenges that we have been discussing, or whoever is affected by the solution that you're going to provide, or who is part of the evaluation or is part of the purchase of the solution. All of these people are stakeholders. Obviously, people having different roles will play different, functionalities in the buying process and the evaluation process, but they are all stakeholders. So what do we do with stakeholders? We need to meet them. We need to understand each stakeholder is different. The way they look at the challenge will be different. The way they look at the solution will be different. The way they look at you as an organization will be different. So we need to understand them. We need to understand what are their challenges, what are their personal aspirations, goals, or challenges. We need to understand what are their decision criteria. How are they going to evaluate a solution? How are they going to take a decision? What is their manner of decision making? This is what is stakeholder management. Remember, in a large deal, if you have too few stakeholders, you are in big trouble, my friend. It has to be that you have spoken to a significant number of stakeholders if you're building a large deal. If you're speaking to only one or two people, your big deal isn't going to happen. So ensure you know who are the people affected by the challenges and the solution, and talk to them, understand their challenges, and then only go and propose a solution. And the last part, the third part I'm going to talk to you about is value selling, right? I mean, everyone talks about value selling. In one sense, it's very simple. See, I have done all the homework of meeting the stakeholders. I've understood their challenges. I've qualified the deal, right? I know exactly that there is a big problem there which needs to be solved and needs to be solved very quickly. So now what? Now what do I do? So now I need to go back and talk to them about how my solution addresses those challenges. One of the challenges that salespeople have is that we tend to, overwhelm our customers with information. We don't need to do that. It is important for us to give them relevant information that will help them to understand exactly how my solution addresses the challenges that they have. If I am doing that, I'm good to go. I don't need to throw, hundreds of credentials and hundreds of demos and hundreds of features at them and hope that somehow, they will understand how great I am. No, we don't need to do that. So then what do we do? So a good structure for a value selling kind of presentation is always start. If you're talking to senior executives, remember they're hard pressed for time. They have very low patience levels, and they are not going to have the time to, go through a very elaborate presentation about how many centers you have and how many practices you have. They don't have the time for that. You need to give them a crisp executive summary which reiterates the challenges that they and other executives around them have stated. Talk to them in their language. Use their language, the language that they stated when they told you they told you their challenges. Use that language, and with that language, reiterate in a crisp manner, and then talk about the solution and the business benefits that you're giving and the overall business case. Executive summary, not more than 5 minutes, but an executive summary is a must, because very often you may have executives who walk out of a presentation saying, hey, I have a hard stop at so and so time. So if you have not put in an executive summary there, they don't even get the gist of what you're saying. Now, once you've done that, you should be presenting the solution. When we present the solution, we don't present the solution just in isolation. We should talk about the challenges and help the stakeholder sitting in front of us to exactly correlate. Okay, this is the challenge. This is the solution. Second challenge, second part of solution. They should be able to correlate based on what you're telling them. Don't assume that they are somehow able to brilliantly correlate the hundreds of things you're telling them with the challenges they have. Don't assume that. It is much better for you to make the effort to specifically talk about 2 or 3 challenges and how this part of what you're proposing to them as a solution is going to address those solutions. One more interesting point that I had made earlier in the presentation was that the value proposition is different for each stakeholder. So what is value for the CEO of the company is different from the value that a CFO sees. A CEO may look at risk mitigation. A CFO may look at cash flow. A CIO may look at coverage of IT processes, coverage of business processes. A CPO, a chief procurement officer, may look at only price. So each one's perception of value is different. So we can't just throw a solution and throw a business case at the stakeholders and then just hope that they'll figure out what's in it for them. We need to individually touch those stakeholders and help them understand that this solution addresses their concerns, their value, what's important for them. And finally, negotiations, just a last word on negotiation. In large deals, it is most important to keep your sponsor, your executive sponsor, and your coach informed at all times, because entirely throughout the sales cycle, when you are interacting with different stakeholders, different people are giving different challenges, keep them involved, keep them informed about what's happening, because when it goes to procurement, the procurement team is going to treat it like it is just a very common commodity that's being procured. So at that time, if your coach and your sponsor are aligned with you, you will be in a better position to negotiate. Of course, you are pushed down. As soon as you are pushed down, deal values start diminishing. So therefore, always stay in touch with your your stakeholders, your key stakeholders, with your coach, with your sponsor, and be patient. Because when we are trying to build a large deal, it can happen that many small deals come up in the interim period. Some stakeholder says, "Hey, I have this problem. Can you solve it for me? I have that problem. Can you solve it for me?" So these are very small ones. It's worthwhile to be patient and wait till it all builds up into one massive deal. So these are some of the thoughts I wanted to leave with you guys. I wish you all the best for FY23, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.